Good hilarity and opinion with Jamie, Simon and Hutch. The Newcastle Comparison, live weekly on NUFC Talk Radio, on YouTube and in all your listening platforms. NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
Good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Newcastle Comparison. At the end of a week where Newcastle United have had two games that we can compare with all sorts, and it's Christmas. So I'm Jamie Smith for NUFC Talk TV and on your podcast platforms. Joining me are Mr. Simon Carhill, looking very festive, Simon.
Yeah, if you can't tell, I've just come from a family Christmas dinner. So yeah, Merry Christmas and hello.
Yeah, so Simon will be belching throughout this show. And David Hutchinson, the miserable Mark. Evening, Hutch.
Hello, how are you?
Fair to middling indeed. Well, you know what? I'm actually pretty good because here we are once again coming off the back of a brilliant victory at the weekend. Because on Saturday morning we smashed another escape room, didn't we?
We did.
Doing I'll show the picture there for anyone watching on YouTube. There we are. We got out of some prison escape room, NUFC Comparison as our team name. And we got out of there. Where's the time on that? 45 minutes?
I think it was 47 officially. I don't want to big us up too much, but
I was rounding up. You
down.
Pedantic twit. But, that's the three of us there. Hutch, you are giving off serious serial killer vibes. That cell suits you to a T, mate. The sort of sinister nature of that Christmas jumper, the juxtaposition is just chef's kiss. We're also with our friend Dan, but if anyone is watching live on YouTube, then please just ignore him because he was about as much use as a chocolate teapot in there. Would have been better off taking a bag of sand in with an amusing face drawn on it. But enough about that, basically, once we left there, we went on to St James's Park, where Newcastle United drawing 2-2 with Chelsea in the big match at a ridiculously early hour, 12:30. So I'm going to come to you first, Simon, because for anyone who doesn't know, we were 2-0 up. I think everyone will know. We were 2-0 up at half-time, 2 goals from Big Nick and utterly dominant, and then ended up drawing 2-2. So, great performance, bad result maybe, 2 points dropped, 13 points dropped from winning positions now. We went out afterwards, played a bit of darts at Lane 7. This show is available for sponsorship if anyone is listening. Had a few drinks. Now you've had a slept on it and sobered up. What's your take on the game? Good result or points dropped?
Well, I'm going to start with the most obvious of cliches. First half was probably, it was a game of two halves. The first half was probably the best we've played all season. It was maybe up there. Benfica was very good, but I think we were playing a much better team than Benfica on Saturday. But yeah, we were fantastic in the first half. Aggressive, looked like we had loads of attacking ideas, early goal. And I think a big catalyst for that was Anthony Gordon, who looked to be the Anthony Gordon that we used to have, who dragged us into the Champions League. I think he was superb, as was the rest of the team. A big shout out for Lewis Miley as well. Second game as right back, but he did some particularly special things. Like his intelligence in that position was really interesting. Like he was like beating the left Garnacho, like making him look silly and pocketing him for the entire game as well. Pocketing him is your word, by the way, Jamie, from your match report, which I completely agree with. So great first half.
I'm embarrassed there. You've made me blush that you've promoted my excellent match report. You did call it an excellent match report there, didn't you?
Did I call it an excellent match report or just Lewis Miley's performance? We'll have to watch the recording back for that. Anyway, but the second half, just a fantastic free kick from Reece James, and then just a slip up from Chow, something that we've not seen from him in all the games he's played for us so far. like a brutal counter attack, a slip up, and then a 1-on-1, which I don't think Ramsdale can be blamed for that goal. Like,
I don't know.
Wait. I think a 1-on-1 at that point there's a lot of luck involved, and I think Pedro did very well. Like, he took it all very cleanly. But yeah, I think we did fade a bit in that second half, but we had so many chances. We should have had a penalty for an absolute assault on Anthony Gordon in the box. He nearly ended up in our seats where we sit, back up in the Gallowgate West corner. And a couple of other
you can't get the Gallowgate West corner to sponsor us if that's what
just making it real that we sit in the Gallowgate West corner. But yeah,
we're going to get mobbed at the next game now.
Yeah, people looking for us. They were not hard to find, to be fair. But look, Chelsea are a very good team. They're fourth. Like, they're having a good season, and at times their midfield dominated. Like, they passed the ball incredibly well through the centre of the pitch, and they were swamping us at times. And I think we missed Joe Linton, like old school Joe Linton.
They're world champions, to be fair, aren't they?
They are world champions,
which is a genuine tag and not just a crop of total shit. No. So yeah, I think on balance, a point against them is nothing to be ashamed of. I wonder if it might cost us later in the season, because I think there's just too much churn at Chelsea. You know, you kind of, they come and you're thinking, like, who actually plays for them now?
Yeah.
Like, and it's maybe a testament to Lewis Miley, but you said to me after about half an hour when I said Garnacho did something that you didn't realise he was playing, which may be a testament to Lewis Miley or a commentary on how vacant you usually are. But I thought I'd come to you, Hutch, for a little bit of a coverage on the controversy, because you touch on the Gordon penalty there, Simon, but the ref cost us, didn't he? The officials cost us. It was shocking.
Well, there wasn't just the Gordon penalty, was there? Because while Tosin basically murdered Gordon within that corner in what was a blocking, which is what it's been described as by the
Chalobah.
Was it Chalobah? I thought it was Tosin.
There you go. It was Chalobah.
Anyway, whoever it was murdered Gordon. But yeah, they got a lot wrong, because, I mean, fair enough, Garnacho was playing, but maybe he shouldn't have been playing before I even noticed he was playing, given that he raked the leg of Ramsey, a foul very similar to one that actually caused a red card in the Tottenham versus Liverpool match, like literally straight after that one.
That was a spicy game, wasn't it, as well? There was a lot going on in that one.
Then there was the Reece James on Barnes. The Reece James on Barnes twice, because at the end he pulled him back. Maybe a red and a free kick. I don't necessarily think so, but, you know, argument there to be had. But what I do think is that we should have also had a penalty for the Reece James on Barnes in the box, which he then celebrated as if it was an amazing tackle. And yet replay show he does not actually touch the ball. He just takes the man completely and celebrates it as if he's had a brilliant tackle, maybe misjudging the referee completely, and as a consequence, the decision on the pitch is what gets held up by VAR. And I think with that, it's basically that's the key, isn't it? Madley has not made the decisions on the pitch either through fear or through incompetence, and as a consequence, VAR have felt that they can't interfere, which is exactly what it's there to do. But we are called an NUFC comparison, so I would like to take you back to December of last year, where Madley was also refereeing our game against Liverpool, 3-3. Can you remember this game?
Oh, God, yeah.
There's an incident jumps out for me, but I don't know if it's the one you're going to focus on. But he blew the final whistle when we were basically through on goal, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a 3-on-1. Basically, we managed to have a counter-attack, and all of them are up the pitch in our half. Pope lobs it out, 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes on the board. We'd scored within extra time, and there was a VAR review. So consequently, that additional time should have been added on anywhere. And he blew at exactly 5 minutes and 15 seconds, despite the fact we were, as I've just said, 3-on-1. There was also a dive by Salah in the box just before he scored.
Never.
He dives in the box. a blatant dive in. The ball gets recycled, a bad pass, who would have thought, from one of our midfielders out. It then gets recycled, goes back into the box, he scores straight away. That was also the game with the incident where Van Dijk, off the ball, smacks Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
No review, no decision. And so, while you can say, I'm sure, I mean, he refereed us 3 times last season, and the other 2 were pretty much without incident. Where there are big games and big incidents, he doesn't get them right. And he didn't get them right yesterday. He didn't get them right last year against Liverpool. And in fact, as a consequence of all those decisions, this is where we are. But then,
I've got a comment here that I'm going to share. So I think Gavin Fuller is a Chelsea fan. Sorry, I meant to share that one. Juju, I think, is a Chelsea fan. He's saying he's played against Gavin Fuller's comment I will get to in a minute. So they played against Newcastle, the ref and the PGM. Well, ref should have given us extra time to win at St. Reece James Park, which is very clever. He's taken our ground, one of their players in. Now,
isn't he a clever boy?
Don't be patronising. These are listeners. But,
I could be patronising if I want to be. I'm on the radio.
That is bloody hell. Things go into your head. That is could have had a valid point if we'd have had a series of unpunished off the ball assaults, but Joe Linton wasn't playing. So that takes the wind out of that one a little bit, doesn't it? And I'm just going to stick with this on something you said, and I will go to Gavin Fuller's comment because it's about the free kick there. It's something you said, Simon. If he stands in the middle of the goal, he saves it. He didn't seem to know where to put himself because the free kick was dead centre. And
we stand slightly to the left and puts the wall to his right as he's looking out.
Yeah, and you had Cole Palmer and Reece James stood over the ball. And if Palmer takes it, it's going that way. And if James is taking it that way, it goes the other way. And you could kind of see the indecision on Ramsdale's face. And I'm going to say this, but with that and with the one-on-one, I think Nick Pope at least does better. I think Nick Pope's bigger and can get across more for that free kick. And I think he's one-on-ones is one of his strengths. And it's ironic because I was saying that Ramsdale's distribution was a big asset in the first half because basically we were recycling it quickly from the back. But I think there's another comment, Kenny here, saying Ramsdale's got no clean sheets. And I've had to just double think about that, but I'm sure he's right. And so I guess...
Is he not in against Benfica? No, it was a clean sheet. Anyway, I'm picking holes, but yeah.
Well,
he looks leaky, yeah.
Hutch can research that while we're having some fab banter. But I think the point there is, when he did come in, was Everton his first game. We were saying he needs a chance. I think, actually, you know what? He played against Tottenham in the League Cup and had a clean sheet there. But maybe what Kenny means is, since he's come into the team for Pope, no clean sheet. But I think probably general consensus would be, if Pope was fit against Man United, he'd stick him back in pegs. What do you think?
I would agree with you. And to answer your question, Simon, if you'd said Aaron Ramsdale when we were doing the team game for Benfica, I would have instantly looked at Jamie and said, have you got a different option?
Because it was Nick Pope. Right,
it was Nick Pope.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would agree with that. His distribution in the build-up was really good in that first half. But into the second half, I think for the free kick, the free kick by Reece James was just brilliant, to be honest. I do think that he would save the one from Pedro. I don't actually think it was that. I think he did well to turn Chow. I don't think the shot was particularly anything special, and it was too close to the goalkeeper, and Nick Pope would have saved it. I genuinely believe that because I've seen him do it before.
I think Pope's shot-stopping capability is something that it kind of gets lost because you expect it a little bit. And Dubravka was a good shot-stopper as well, whereas Ramsdale's more of an all-round kind of keeper footballer. And doesn't save as many. He's got quite a poor,
He
something like 40% of shots.
it does seem quite diminutive, like just physically, like in comparison to Pope. And I think I saw some random goalkeeper thing the other day, like Pope's claiming from crosses and command around the 18-yard box, like in terms of claiming things, is a lot stronger. So I think we've had this conversation before. If we chopped up Ramsdale and Pope and gave Nick Pope Ramsdale's distribution, you've got a world-class goalkeeper. It's just, and I think the fact that we have Shah at the back, Ramsdale's distribution isn't as important when Shah plays because Shah can ping it from anywhere. I think Ramsdale, like, he does help pass across the back faster. He adds an extra option. But yeah, I think Pope gets back in if he's fit.
Yeah, well, John Story said here, Pope made very obvious errors which cost games. Same can't be said for Ramsdale. So I think that's it. Pope's errors were obvious because they were sort of glaring brain farts, basically. So the question is the timeout that he's had out the answer to that, to getting him refocused? Whereas Ramsdale's errors aren't errors as such. It's just not
non-saves.
He's just not a good shot stopper.
Although he made a couple of good saves yesterday. I remember one like going into the
Garnacho one.
Yeah. So he's got it in him. I think, like you say, the Reece James goal goes in off the post, but you think with Nick Pope being a bit taller, like because he's nearly there, like by the time it's over the wall, and it was so far out. I think someone mentioned before in the comments as well, the wall didn't really do much of a job. It kind of goes through the wall to a degree. So yeah, but you can't take away. You can't take away.
You'd be expecting Burn in that wall, wouldn't you? You'd be expecting Burn in that wall. You'd be expecting Joe Linton if he was fit. But the problem is that all these players are injured. So as a consequence, Bruno was at the end of the wall. He didn't jump for it.
Well,
I don't think it would have made a difference if he did jump for it because he's not particularly big.
If Joe Linton had been playing, it probably wouldn't have happened because he'd give away a free kick on the halfway line. They wouldn't have gotten
which is always a good foul. Yeah, all the way over there is a good foul. And just on that Joe Linton point as well, I think we're missing like prime Joe Linton, like breaking up the play, because in the second half particularly, they were running over us. Their midfield, they were passing through us too easily, and
I don't think they were passing through us too easily. I think part of the issue was, and you could see this with the second goal, was that we were playing like a man marking system, and so as a consequence, like with the second goal, they just basically put everyone in their own half. They kicked it, and then João Pedro and whoever it was on the right went a little bit longer, isolating our two centre backs. And then when he turned them, there was no one there because that's effectively how we were playing. And so they were basically using that system to basically move our players out of position so they could pass to us. It was actually one of the things I was most impressed with Lewis Miley, is that he was just able to intercept those passes before they got to Garnacho.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was very good, Miley. Yeah. I'm going to just make a wider point here based on what Ronnie Omlett said, that Ramsdale, Pope, Byrne and Murphy. I don't know if he means Murphy's as in Jacob and Alexei, or if he just means a singular, but should never be a thing here post takeover. Villa have obviously cracked the top six, and we haven't. We are stuck on plodders. Villa won again today. They're doing very well. Probably the only comparable club to us, I would say. But I think this game, for me, showed up a massive reason why. Because the man who scored the equaliser that cost us the points with a brilliant turn was a player we've wanted for years. A player we tracked and we had a price agreed for. The reason he's not here is because he wanted to go to Chelsea. And the reason he's gone to Chelsea is because they have a hell of a lot more money. Because I had a look at this today. Over the 3-year PSR period, Chelsea's revenue was £710 million higher than Newcastle. That means they can afford to splurge that exclusively on staff, players and wages. So how are you supposed to compete with that? And, you know, there's always a narrative about when we miss out on Benjamin Sesko, he's always supported Man United. or Liverpool. Hugo Ekitike had a Liverpool shirt when he was 7 years old. What a load of moonshine! At the end of the day, the driving factor in where anybody goes is money. It's an agent who broke us a deal, and he doesn't care about what sentimental attachment you have to any club. And as long as we are that far behind those clubs, that is always going to dictate that we struggle to compete with them. And Villa are a case in point of doing it well. But I would argue that we've done it well on 2 out of 3 seasons. We did well last season. We managed to... Villa... Emery's been at Villa around the same time Howe's been here. Still hasn't won a cup. Villa...
You look at some of the signings that we...
Sorry, go on.
You looked at some of the signings that we made like a couple of years ago, like when we signed like Lewis Holland and Livramento, and people were saying, well, why have we spent, 80, 90 million on fullbacks? And you can see now why we spent 80, 90 million on fullbacks, because they had the potential to be brilliant, and now they're showing that they can be brilliant when they are fit.
It's because we need to. It's because we need to, because the harsh lesson we've learned this summer, right? And I think it shocked me a bit, and it should have shocked everybody. But the harsh lesson we've learned is that's what we need to do. We need to buy Livramentos and Halls, or players that other clubs aren't ready to take a chance on, like Bruno, and turn them from 40, 50 million pound players into 100 million pound players, like we did with Alexander Isak. Doubled his value. The off-the-shelf option of buying a top European striker like Sesko is just not an option, because he'll go to a richer club. And I don't know if some of these richer clubs are looking at Newcastle and thinking, you want Hugo Ekitike, I'm just going to buy him. Not particularly because I've scouted him, I want him. I just need to stop you getting him, because you are a threat. We were sniffing around in Buemo. He went straight to Man United. And if you look, all of our targets, with the probable exception of Chow, all of our targets went elsewhere in every position, and we had to kind of cobble together what we've got. And that, I think, is a big part of the reason for why we've come unstuck this season. And what I would like to do, what I'd like to see them do is get more revenue in by increasing commercial output and things, which everyone's been saying for a long time. And but also, I'd like to see them have a very structured plan to go after the Halls, the Livramentos, the Brunos, the 40 million pound players, and just accept who we are. Because this is going to sound harsh, but we are not an elite club. You need that kind of earning, and you need to be able to give people 250, 300 grand a week to be an elite club and to attract an elite coach. Until then, we are going to have to get second level players who are still very good players, instill a sense of belief in them and a sense of team about them, and be competitive that way. And it's very similar for Villa, because they've still got John McGinn leading the team out, and they've still got Tyrone Mings and a lot of players that Emery inherited. It's just you need coaches who can do a good job of bringing them through. So I think anyone who's thinking a quick manager change equals strapping a rocket to it and going into the top 4, it's a lot bigger than that as a challenge.
I still, like, with the limitations that we do have, we have done very, very well with transfers, I think. Up until this season, potentially. However, saying that, just on your point on Pedro, and we chased him, and he was a target for a long time. He only scored one yesterday, and Nick Voltmar scored 2. And I think Nick is a find, but we just don't have the system for him yet. But I also think that's the fact that he was a last-minute purchase, clearly, and he was way down the list. The amount of games we've had this season, and the sentiment that we're not getting the time to coach players or coach tactics, that seems to be coming out of the club. But he's done very, very well. And I think... Yeah. Sorry, go on.
There's a couple of comments there saying, like, we obviously dodged a bullet with Sesko, and Voltemade has been a better signing, which I think everybody would agree with. I'm just pulled Gary's comment up because Pedro didn't solely want Chelsea. It was more he wanted London. He said that in an interview. Gary, footballers say things in interviews that aren't necessarily the case. He said that, he would say he used to dress up as a green dinosaur and he likes to don't let Geordies in if he signed for Arsenal, because they'll give the right message, but at the end of the day, it's money. It
Yeah.
is money, money, money.
If we paid him more, that London would change to the northeast. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
only a 3-hour
Blackburn-
train ride, 1-hour plane journey, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Blackburn Rovers in the 90s used to sign a lot of expensive players, but Blackburn weren't London. And I don't think anyone could sell that.
Yeah,
We've
true.
been there, haven't we, Hutch?
I also don't think that Pedro would have signed for Millwall because they can't afford to pay him £300,000 a week.
Exactly, that's Kenny's point there.
Yeah.
So, overall, then, I don't know. Do you feel good or bad about Chelsea? Just in a word. I mean, Chelsea the game. Before we move on about Chelsea.
Bad because it's another game where we've dropped points. Is it 13 games now, or is it 12, 13 games where we've
It's 13 points.
13 points? Sorry,
If
we've
we
dropped 13
points,
points from winning positions, picked up none from losing positions. So like you can't really take it in any other way other than disappointment, because it's a game that we were comfortably in control of at half time. Yeah, we lost that control, but then we lost that control and then kind of got screwed over by the ref and by VAR.
yeah,
So
If in this season that I think you'd take that to all because of the way we played in the first half. If this season didn't include games like Leeds, where we have given up points, or where we have thrown away leads against teams we should be above in the league, with that context, it's not as good. But I think the performance in the first half was top notch. I think Chelsea are a very good team, and they'll be pushing for Champions League by the end of the season. So I don't think it was that bad. You then start looking at the next game straight away, because Chelsea and Man United, if you come away with a win or from Man United, I think that's two decent results in a busy fixture period.
We'll get on Man United towards the end of the show, because obviously that is the next match and there's a little bit of context around that. I'm just gonna jump off a little bit though and go into this. The old charter Premier League clubs, and
Is this
see
where
what
we?
Chelsea.
Is this where we start arguing about Tottenham and Everton not being massive clubs again, Hutch? Do we have to bring that up every week, or we just?
This is where you mention absolutely nothing about Tottenham or Everton, because that was one of the worst moments of my life. But,
well, I thought it was a valuable debate at the time, but agree to disagree.
Yeah, it was great TV. Right,
yeah.
here we go. It's taking its time to get on the scene, but
Hutch, I'm gonna let you go first this week with this one, because I think you'll have some deep insight into your thoughts and feelings on Chelsea and how they rank.
I don't have any deep insights into Chelsea. I don't particularly like them as a club. I think the fans are a bit. Nah. Was it 4 major trophies prior to them being taken over, and someone's
that's right.
a multi-million-pound rocket to their arse?
So I'll just to clarify that. So if you go back to 1996, when Newcastle came very close to winning the Premier League, Chelsea were they had 4 major trophies. They had one each of the League, FA Cup, and League Cup, and they had one Cup Winners' Cup. And then they went on a bit of a run under Ken Bates and Gianluca Vialli. They won the FA Cup, they won the League Cup, they won the Cup Winners' Cup, and they won the FA Cup again. But it wasn't until Abramovich that they started really winning things. So just to clarify what we're doing here, we have 6 categories to determine whether another club is worldwide, is in a massive worldwide organisation. A massive club like Newcastle United, who we've got in there, and other clubs we're not going to get into. A big club, which we reluctantly placed Sunderland in last week. Haven't got any medium clubs yet, but we don't have to. Small clubs, we've got likes of Burnley and Fulham, and we've got Brentford as Tim Pot. So we are looking to rank Chelsea on this scale. So as I say, Hutch, very little in the way of trophies before 1997. attendance is really poor. I think they were sub 20,000 in the 90s. And there was no doubt at that point that the biggest clubs in London were Tottenham and Arsenal. So they are very much a Johnny come lately, which people who are sort of under the age of 30 might not realise. But since then, 6 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League, reigning world champions, won every European trophy available to a club side. Few FA Cups, few League Cups. Where does
I
that
suppose,
stop?
fortunately for them as well, for their attendance, that there's been quite a few Russian oligarchs moved to London. So that probably will increase their attendance a little bit.
You're putting the entire attendance down to Russian oligarchs living in Belgravia and nipping along for the Chelsea match.
I'm not putting it all down to that. Obviously, they won a few things as well. So, unfortunately, they do have a very large fan base away from this country as well. So, like an international fan base. And I suppose the same thing could be said for Manchester City, although Manchester City have been a much bigger club within the last 10 to 15 years. So I would probably put them in worldwide, unfortunately, despite the fact that I really don't like them.
I think you're right in terms of the international base, because they had a lot of top African players, didn't they? They had sort of Essien and Drogba, and I think that they got a lot of fans in Africa, as well as sort of being a big club when the game boomed in the United States and things. Simon, do you disagree with worldwide from Hutch?
I was on the cusp between worldwide and massive. They've obviously had a big period of dominance, the Mourinho era, and they've won a few more league titles since then as well. Champions Leagues, lots of international players. They have a pretty rich history as well, a pretty decent history. So, yeah, and also that point you just made about their commercial turnover and how we compare, I think you have to put them in that top bracket.
I'm going to agree. I mean, if you look at the Club World Cup, if Donald Trump is nicking your medals, then the chances are you're probably a pretty massive worldwide club.
Also, them being world champions kind of leads you to put them in there.
So that's maybe a positive. You know, we got to go off the world champions.
Exactly, yeah.
So Chelsea are a worldwide club. There you go. You heard it here first. Maybe not. I'm just going to jump back in the comments very quickly, because we're going to just move on to the Fulham game in a bit from the League Cup. But there's a little bit here about Anthony Elanga. A couple of people saying Elanga 55 million, Villa bought Morgan Rogers for 15. Elanga is a worry. Barnes, Elanga and Wissa, massive waste of money. I'd say Dewey's got to be out on Wissa, who has looked great in his couple of games since he come back from injury, but it's a case of how much we get out of him over the years for that 55 million or whatever it was. I think Ramsey is one that's often mentioned in that breath, because 40 odd million seems like a lot for him, but he was signed late in the summer. He hasn't had he's had a little injury problem, and he's gradually working his way into the team now, so I'd give him a bit more time. But Elanga, full pre-season, had plenty of opportunities, no injuries or breaks, and just doesn't seem to be doing it. There was a couple of moments yesterday when he could have squared it for Wissam Barnes to score. And was a game yesterday? It's Christmas and you lose track of what day it is, don't you? Yeah.
I think Elanga's an ever-present in the Premier League as well, as in he started or appeared in every Premier League game since we signed him. And
wow,
I think that's true, but his contribution's been, I think, 1 assist for Volta. He had 2 kind of one-on-ones with Cucurella yesterday, and Cucurella just kept up with him and managed him out. He's not produced anything that even near justifies £65 million. and even with like Jacob Murphy, even though he has his limitations, and I know we're going to touch on the Fulham game as well, he has the ability to find his teammates. At the least, like he'll try a few things. It won't always work, but he plays in the system, and he plays in the system well. And in particular, when Trippier is on that right hand side as well, and maybe Elanga's missing someone like Trippier around him or near him.
Well, I think the thing about Elanga is I don't think he fits the way we need to play, because at Nottingham Forest, I said this yesterday or whatever day the game was, it's Christmas. They were a counter-attacking team, and they'd be pinned back, and they'd just give it to him and say, right, run the length of the pitch. We want to play further up the pitch, and he doesn't seem to fit. And I hope he does. But like, again, going back to reiterating this point, he had a full pre-season. He's played constantly pretty much, as you said, Simon, and it looks like it's going to become a bit of a vicious circle as well, because he came on yesterday, and the first thing he did, he went on a meandering run and lost the ball. And then the crowd seemed to get on his back a little bit, because it feels like we're losing patience a bit. And I think the whole thing, when people are saying what Eddie Howe isn't doing, a lot of it comes back to the summer spend not really working out, except Chow and Voltemada maybe.
I think as well, he came on yesterday, and it wasn't so much that he was Cucurella was keeping up with him. It was that he kept checking his run. Like, he was running and then checking back and then running. And it's like, you just want him to take on his man and beat him, and if not, he'll get a free kick. Like, that's what we want out of him. And even yesterday, when he broke away and he was just running at the goalkeeper, he kind of like, he had someone to his left, someone to his right, and then he just checked. And it's like, what are you doing?
I don't think he's got a trick as well. Like, we've seen that he's not a natural passer. He can't. I've not seen him take too many shots of quality, and he doesn't seem to have a trick. Like Gordon has pace and can trick people. Elanga's just pace, and that I think that's the worry. Also, like, I want to come back to Ramsey as well, because those two are kind of the weaker transfers, if you like. And like you say, Jamie, Ramsey's just kind of making his way back into the team. But I don't know what he is, because if you put Joe Linton in next to Bruno and Tonali, you know Joe Linton's going to win the ball back. I don't think Ramsey's that. You've got Bruno doing the box to box, and I think Ramsey is that. He's just legs, and he can carry the ball quite well. But I think we talked about it on the way out of the game yesterday. He tried to beat someone, and they just munched him and got the ball off him. So I don't know what he is. I would have preferred to get someone that's either a very big attacking influence or even more defensive influence. And he's kind of in between. He's just a ball player.
You've got to hope he's a Lewis Hall style slow burner, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that would be. He's the he's the benchmark of, oh my god, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you look at Chelsea yesterday though, and like, we really miss someone like Caicedo, because like, you've got your two runners who are Bruno, who can carry the ball and find a pass, although he keeps doing this no look pass thing and it doesn't come off, and he loses the ball all the time, and it's really starting to grate on us. But then you've also got Tonali, who also chases down, will press really well. You just need someone to basically sit in that pocket ahead of the centre backs and just take the ball and distribute it well. And that's the one thing we don't have.
That's if anyone's ever played football with me, that's like I think I know what you're getting at. Now, once again, I'm very flattered. But,
I have played football with you, just to be clear.
Yeah, so there's an immediate endorsement.
Agree to disagree again, but carry on.
You play football with me, and you've got metalwork at home to that effect.
That's true. Yeah. We are league winners, actually. Yeah, that's I can't take that away from you.
But anyway, that was the last bit. This is the next bit. So, a lot said about Chelsea, and we'll touch on some of the elements here as we look forward to next week. But we did want to just quickly cover the Carabao Cup and Fulham, because we haven't been on the air since then. So, as I've said before, everyone, it's Christmas time. I don't know what day it is. I'm on a daily diet of Cadbury's Heroes and mince pies and various other sugary, cholesterol-filled snacks. So I can't remember much about this game, not least because, Simon, we went and got hammered after this match. My wife was very annoyed with me because I came in stinking a kebab and snowed all night. Sorry, pet, if you're listening. And if the shawarma man's listening, the show is available for sponsorship. But does one of you want to recall what happened in that game for me then?
Well, it was another kind of as good as the first half against Chelsea was. The Fulham game was bad. Like Fulham were not a good team, and they were missing some key players for them as well. It was obviously Miley's first game at right back, so we felt like it was a bit of a patched up team, and we played like it. It was just a bit of a kind of oddity of a game. Obviously, we scored, they scored, and the goal they scored, we just seemed to be completely outnumbered in our own box. Like
Terrible, wasn't it?
it was awful, and then it was just someone just put it in the back of the net kind of game for the rest of that and get the job done. It was such a nothing game, and I think lots of people walking out the ground afterwards were just like, we just needed that win. It was a mess of a game, and like again, Miley popping up with a fantastic like flicked header as well. But oh god, we just needed it. It was desperate stuff, but we just got the win.
We spoke about last week about how some inaccurate comments had been made by, I think, Gordon and by Eddie Howe that by getting to the League Cup semi-final we could make up for the Sunderland defeat, which everybody knew was not the case. However, is it fair to say that having a semi-final was the first step in healing from that and helping a little bit look forward?
Yeah,
and
I think
lost it would have exacerbated it.
Yeah, massively. I think the pressure on Howe would have started to increase. But it was just one of those games to find a way to win, and we did. Like it wasn't pretty, it wasn't fun until we got out of the game, and then it was fun. But up until that point, it was just a must win.
It was pretty much the exact same as when we played Fulham in the League Cup, wasn't it? We didn't turn up at all, and yet somehow managed to win 2-1.
It was when we played Fulham in the League Cup, Hutch. That's what the game was.
Sorry, in the Premier League. Sorry. Yeah, I'm also on a diet of it is befuddling my brain somewhat.
Yeah.
So if you're allowed to use that excuse, so am I. Yeah,
all your scrumptious munchins are befuddling your brain. Have you been reading Roald Dahl books to the kids for Christmas?
It's all the Swiss cheese is creating Swiss cheese style gaps in our memories, like Sam Beckett from Quantum Leap, which is a Target reference. But it's what a time to be alive.
I'm not going to go off track to start talking about Quantum Leap because that will segue this episode into an area that nobody wants to go. But maybe that's another podcast.
Great show. Great show.
Best show ever. So anyway, a couple of words on Lewis Miley because he came up with the winner. Brilliant at right back against Chelsea. I think it's kind of solved two problems because the fullback situation was terrifying when Tino went off and Hall didn't play, and obviously you've got Dan Burn injured and Trippier and every fullback who plays for us. Miley solved that, and I think it's going to be a problem how Livramento gets back in, maybe. But he solved that problem, and he solved the problem of we wanted him to get more game time, and I wonder if this could be his position long term because he would be my man of the weekend if he wasn't gazumped at the very last by Mickey van der Ven. And in case anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about there, I do have a little graphic that illustrates exactly what happened.
This is where me and Simon talk because Jim's going to take half an hour to produce some form of screenshot.
Oh gosh, yeah, I had it handy and I don't. So
I managed to catch the end of the Liverpool Spurs game last night as well. It turned into like a 1970s like fight of a game. It looked actually like quite a lot of fun. to watch. But there was all sorts going on in that game, as well as one particularly standout victim of a fair challenge from Mickey van der Ven as well.
I had a picture of the challenge, but it's refusing to upload, so we'll just have to explain it in a bit of detail. It wasn't my fault, so I was probably going to get sued for copyright. Or Chris Rodriguez was going to get sued for copyright infringement, which I would be less bothered about. But hey man, don't we go getting me sued?
Sure, he's going to really appreciate
key,
that,
isn't it?
That is, yeah. Let's not confuse that too much.
We'll put you in jail, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll put you in jail.
Yeah, I mean, it won't shoot us as much as it does you serial killing weirdo, but I'm sure.
Yeah, go back to the recording to find out what that photo looks like for those who have just joined.
Anyway, Alexander Isak was injured by Van der Ven in a tackle in the act of scoring. To be fair, scoring his second goal for Liverpool. Good job, little buddy. But it looks like damage to his ankle, and it looks like a long-term injury. So here's my question for you guys. With hindsight, do you feel a bit bad for that, given everything that he did for the club, and he could be out? It could be his season. That's reported by David Ornstein in the Athletic today, by the way. That's not just speculation. That it is a bad long-term injury. Do you feel a little bit sad that that's happened for him, or do you just think it's funny?
This feels like a moral question, like more than a football question. It feels like this is a lot deeper than just football. You wouldn't want him viciously broken, injured, but I don't know.
I think
honestly,
human to human, I genuinely feel, I do feel a bit bad for him. Yeah. However, I don't feel bad for Liverpool Football Club, not one bit. I think they are getting exactly what they deserve, and I'm genuinely very happy.
I can see how happy you are. Yeah,
but Liverpool Football Club have spent £130 million on an absolute crock. But I do feel sorry for Alexander Isak. There you go.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of looking at it. To be fair, yeah, I'll probably agree with you there.
However, I did lots of happy laughing faces to my Liverpool supporting friend earlier.
Yeah, I think the thing is, what happens when you get a big injury like that, and Isak's very much this sort of player, you sort of come back from it, and players get lots of stupid little injuries because they've had to rest one leg, and their alignment goes out or whatever, and so he'll come back from the ankle damage, and it'll be a hamstring and then a calf and stuff. And I honestly think if this season at Liverpool's a write-off and it rumbles into next season, in the end the fans will turn on him, write him off as a waste of money, and it'll become a mental thing. So I really, really think this injury, and I've got receipts somewhere that I never bothered downloading, which I should have done before this show, but I put tweets out saying that throughout Alexander Isak's whole Newcastle career, it felt like he was on the verge of a long injury absence. It felt like there was rumours about his groin going last year, and he was terrible post-League Cup final, really. He barely scored apart from penalties. He couldn't run. And I felt like he was a big injury waiting to happen. Obviously, Mickey van der Ven has accelerated that in a short fashion. No intent from Van der Ven, I should point out. Although, if I do happen to see him in a pub in Newcastle, a pint is going his way from me anyway. But yeah, I think, is it fair to say we don't want Alexander Isak to have a career ending or dangerous, damaging injury, but we do want his move to Liverpool to go awry by hook or foul.
Yeah,
is that a fair way to put it?
I think that's fine. And look, I think he'll come good at some point for Liverpool, maybe score 20 goals in half a season and then play the same card he did with us and head off to Barcelona. So he's not going to stay in the Premier League forever. And I think a move abroad is going to happen at some point. I don't
know. I feel like the injuries were mounting up. It's a bit like Joe Linton to a degree that, once these big injuries did start to happen, I do think that like what you said, Jamie, his career is probably going to take a negative turn simply because he can't stay on the pitch long enough.
Yeah.
And maybe in hindsight, the money that we've got for him is going to work out well for us simply because he was never going to be able to maintain his performances.
Well, he's never going to be worth 130 million pounds again, is he? It's like,
No.
and buying him, it's like, you know, when you buy a new car and sort of the crack is as soon as you drive it off the dealership forecourt, it's started to decrease in value. And that was, you know, he started decreasing in value from the moment he did that cringeworthy early interview, you know. How does it feel, mate, when you look down and see the liver bird and you see the purple wheelie bins and now you know you're at Liverpool? Great, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Let's do some comparisons. That's what
Yeah.
we've done. So, you know, overall, like probably a bit of a weird week because it takes that defeat to the Macklins will linger in the back of the mind at the very least for some time. League Cup semi-final is obviously great, although it's not a great draw, is it? Man City away in the second leg. Do you hold out much hope for the final? For getting to the final?
I'll keep this one short. No.
Good point. Hutch.
Well,
Hutch, you
no.
can shock us with one of your startlingly optimistic revelations that makes us wonder if you've been on the magic mushrooms for a few hours before.
I'm not. No, I think
you're not on the magic mushrooms, are you?
Well, I am on the no, I'm not on the magic mushrooms. No, I don't seriously think that anyone expects us to get past Man City. I think had the draw been the other way around, where we played them first away, then at home, I think there might have been some hope that, you know, keep it tight in the first leg and then hope for the best in the second. But, you know, we're going to have to beat them at home and then hope to God that we can not get battered away. And that's pretty much the only the only hope that we've got. So, no, not a lot of confidence. But then I do remember like seeing Arsenal come out that hat and not thinking that was a great draw. So we'll see.
Are we in the first leg to Arsenal though, and cracks tend to appear for them at the turn of the year, whereas Man City's the opposite rather.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal probably is going to wish that it wasn't the opposite because let's face it, they're already ahead now in the Premier League and they are probably going to stay there.
Yeah, they're well. I mean, they're not, are they? After the weekend, they're still 2 points behind, but I think I've got no doubt.
They did go ahead very, very.
Yeah, when Arsenal hadn't played. Yeah, but
eventually it'll catch up to them, won't it?
Yeah. So yeah, but at least we got a chance, haven't we? You know what I mean? All it takes is for their goalie to get sent off after 5 minutes in the first leg at Newcastle. And then the replacement goalie gets sent off as well. And we can win the first leg by about 5-0. And then
I look forward to Andy Madley being announced as the referee for that match. And then
well, you've just got to whinge about that, haven't you? So then a draw with Chelsea. So it's kind of a mixed week. But, you know, like what I said we'd do for a bit of a comparison with the past is let's look back at jolly Christmas times, right? Let's not worry about going out the cup or getting a horrendous draw in the Champions League and it not even being a nice trip. Let's look at jolly times in the past. Simon, you've got a picture here. So what's your comparison for this time of year?
Yeah, I thought I'd throw this up. So obviously we've just gone past Fulham into the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. So I went back a couple of years to another run in the Carabao Cup where we ended up in the final. And this was I think it was another one of our midweek nights out, Jamie, for a cup game back in 2022. So it was the fourth round of the Carabao Cup at this time of year. And we were playing Bournemouth at home. Does anybody remember the score?
I know the score. I remember this vividly. And there's something special about this game that I throw back at you. But we won 1-0 with an own goal from Bournemouth. It was an awful game.
Correct, which also kind of triggered my memory about the Fulham game this week as well. So I think it was, again, just one of those games we need. Well, being a cup game, obviously we had to win it, but we just did what was necessary against probably a weakened Bournemouth team, as they didn't have much to rotate back in the time. But this was part of our successful cup run. Well, successful up until the final in 2022-23. So we beat Tranmere, Crystal Palace on penalties, this game against Bournemouth at home, and then the Leicester and Southampton wins home and away. And then the disappointing loss to Man United in the final. But I just thought there was a lot of parallels with our midweek game against Fulham, especially the drinking afterwards.
So, do you guys know what I would mean if I said, can you tell me what's unique about this match?
Ooh. No, I can't remember.
So what was the score?
1-0. No, well, we didn't score.
But we did beat Bournemouth, and that's the only time we've beaten Bournemouth since Eddie Howe came to Newcastle. Was in that cup match. We've never beaten them in the Premier League, and we've got them in the FA Cup in it. Well, is it a couple of weeks or is it a couple of days? When's the FA Cup? It's like what day is it now? What day is that game?
January 10th, is it? Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, unless that's the Leeds game.
Is that game existing in our playing reality, or is it in the upside down?
Yeah.
Walcott and Bruno got that right, beating Bournemouth. So give him credit for that. It did take an own goal. It was the only time we've done it was in the League Cup. But we've got them in the FA Cup next, so we could get another cup win against them. So, good one, though, Simon. I think, and that was a really good night out. I can't remember if we knew we'd got Leicester at home, which was a very nice quarter-final draw, and that we...
Well, the game was it was on a Tuesday, so I think the draw was the next night, I think.
Right. And, and it was extremely close to Christmas, and I seem to remember us being in the big market at silly o'clock.
We went to Rafferty's, I think, after the game. Was it that one, or was that a different one? Anyway.
It was very similar to the Fulham game the other night, we just went around Newcastle until pubs were shut.
Getting kicked out pubs,
we should take this opportunity to apologise to the people at the town wall who had to unlock the door to let us out the other night, because we were in there for that long with beers parked up. And we are available for sponsorship if anyone is listening.
Yeah, or Guinness. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, Guinness or Lindt chocolate or Yorkshire tea. Hutch, what's your jolly game from Christmas?
Well, I was actually looking at the same year, and it wasn't Christmas, but it was a jolly Boxing Day.
I told you not. Boxing Day is next week.
Well, yeah, but then I did also tell you that I was going to look at Andy Madley games, and you went, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea."
Right, come on then. Come on, you're doing Boxing Day, right?
So, it was an away game. It was the night after Christmas. It was an away game at Leicester, and we won 3-0. It was lovely, with a Wood penalty, Almiron scoring in the 7th minute, and Joe Linton scoring in the 32nd minute. And just a nice little victory on our way to achieving Champions League that year.
Nice.
I'd like to apologise and inform everyone that next week's show is now cancelled because Hutch has blown all the content. Chris Wood scoring his last goal for Newcastle, and the next Boxing Day he scored 3 against Newcastle.
He did.
Which I was going to talk about in the Boxing Day episode, but as it's cancelled now. I'll tell you what. That was really good because I think Leicester I don't know if Leicester went down that year, but it was still a reasonably difficult place to go, wasn't it? And back in the days when we could win comfortable away games, hope they return sometime soon. Maybe next week at Man United. I'll just quickly throw mine out there then. So I'm going back to, right, let me just make bloody sure I've got the year right. I'm pretty sure it's 2002 when Newcastle won back-to-back away games the week before Christmas. Away at Arsenal at Highbury. Wenger's Arsenal, who were on the way to be invincible in a year or so's time. And away to Leeds United. Does anyone know the score of that Leeds game?
Oh, is that not? Is it the 3-2?
It's not 3-2. Yeah, I'll see you 3-2 and raise you
4-3.
4-3, yeah. So it was 4-3, and we came back from 3-2 down, or it might even have been 3-1 down.
Did Nobby score the winner?
Nobby Solano scored the winner, and Newcastle were top of the league at Christmas. That was the last time we were top of the league at Christmas, 23 years ago. I don't think there's, unless there's some kind of, I better check Twitter in case there's some sort of mass 10-team points deduction on the go that might see us end up top of the league this Christmas. But I'll be honest, that is unlikely. Just quick one, Walcott and Bruno, Rington's tea would be a good sponsor if anyone from Rington's tea is this. However, I'm not sure about that, because I remember when my mum used to get their triple chocolate cookies, and I must have stuck a stone on, because they are like crack cocaine, those cookies. You just can't put them down. So I would become a Fubby Tucker if we do get the Rington sponsorship, but I would still accept it. Okay, so I think that's important. I was considering letting us talk about the amount of times Newcastle United have ruined Christmas, but we did touch that a little bit in the Markham's game when they ruined Christmas a few years ago, and I thought, let's not put that vibe on people. Let's just put a slightly more positive vibe about times when Newcastle were top, or when we went on runs to Wembley, or times that weren't at Christmas, if you watch. But next week we can cover Boxing Day again. But let's have a little think ahead to next week. So, Manchester United away. Now, in the past, that would be a really, really tough game. But Manchester United have been a bit of a rolling bin fire for a while now. Now, I do have a bit of an exclusive update, which people might not know, but Man United today losing at Aston Villa. Bruno Fernandes subbed at not even reaching half-time, I don't think, with an injury that will keep him out of the game. And over the last few years, as I say, Man United have been a rolling bin fire, but when they've won, it's normally him who contributes something. Add in the fact that Brian Mbeumo and Amad Diallo have been called up for the African Cup of Nations, and they've got another few injuries anyway. Maybe we've got a bit of a chance. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good time to play them. The squad's obviously under pressure, and if we turn up with the first half performance from Chelsea, I think we give ourselves a chance. Obviously, just between now and then, put everybody on ice and let them hope for no injuries between now and then.
Yeah, I mean, if we go there and perform how we did against Everton, maybe not against the Markhams, but we should be. I would like to think that we can get a positive result against them. We seem to be getting decent results against them over the past couple of seasons. So why not continue a bit of a tradition?
Yeah, here.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. We won there last year. We won the League Cup the year before, and I think we drew there the year before that. So yeah,
and Christmas is all about tradition. So
absolutely, yeah. Could be only our third win there or something, Hutch, since you stopped us watching that win there because you chose to get your child baptised on the day of the win against Man United. So
I could have gone to that match, yes, but you didn't buy a ticket, so you came to the baptism anyway.
Yeah,
I came to the baptism because
you hadn't bought a ticket.
Because I'm a good bloke, and I wanted to come to the baptism instead. So I think, I'm relatively optimistic for Man United. Interesting fact as well, we've got a 6-day gap between the Chelsea game and the Man United game. That is the biggest gap we'll have between returning from the international break in November and the end of February, unless we manage to get in the top 8 of the Champions League, because I think we're almost certain to be in the playoff. So this is the rest. This is the rest and reset, 6 days. He has an interesting little fact for everyone as well, though. Once we get past that game at Old Trafford, we've got a run of 8 games, 6 of them at home, and the 2 away games are against the bottom 2 teams in the Premier League, Wolves and Burnley. So I'm going to use that as a nice little segue because Harmeet has said how out he's either overestimating our powers of decision making at Newcastle United or he's just making a general point. But Ronnie's saying Newcastle need freshening up, manager with pull and charisma. Howe's done his bit and thanks, but it's time to take a step up. So I think we sort of touched on this last week, but we just come off the back of a Markham defeat, which can be reactionary. But I think this next sort of month or 6 weeks, you don't sack Eddie Howe now because we're in 4 competitions, we're 6 points off the top 4. And changing managers mid-season can be a bit of a disaster. But I think over the next few weeks, this season can turn into a success, but it's really got to, hasn't it? So when we get to February, the question for you guys is, what do you think, what position would you like us to be in? What would you see as being successful across the 4 competitions?
Well, I think we've all agreed that we're probably not going to make it past City. So anything other than going out, which there is only one option of, is a win.
Chris, yeah.
So, okay, that aside, we've done very well in that competition this year. Again, FA Cup through to the next round. I think.
Yeah, round 4.
Yeah, I think we need to be through on that. And then, like this period you mentioned, like the 8 games, 6 at home, 2 to lower league teams, get up and around 6th or 7th in the league, and don't concede late goals. Just don't concede another late goal. Just stop it. Whatever that problem is, put that away because we know how badly that's cost us this season. So I think if we're up and around 7th or 8th, we haven't conceded any late goals, we're through to the next round of the FA Cup and whatever is happening with the Carabao Cup, and we're through to the next round of the Champions League, I think we're achieving what we should do, given the context you were talking about earlier. So all the trouble over the summer with the backroom staff, all the organisation in the background, our commercial position, like all of that stuff, all of that context goes into where we end up in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
And then very carefully having a word with the physio saying, don't let anybody else get injured, because otherwise we're screwed.
That's a very sensible and balanced answer, which we all know there's no place on YouTube for that sort of thing. Hutch,
You're welcome.
Do you have a slightly hysterical and maybe frivolous retort to that? What would you see as being a good few weeks? What would you see as being...
Please say top of the league.
Top of the league.
Top of the league.
I think Simon's pretty much hit the nail on the head. Obviously, if we could manage to knock City out of the Carabao Cup in a 2-way tie, then that would be amazing. But yeah, I do think that unless we can achieve some form of European competition through the league, our best chance is probably now through some form of domestic trophy. So getting through to the 4th round of the FA Cup is absolutely essential, and doing our best against City. I mean, as I've already said in this, I didn't expect us to get past Arsenal last year, so I might be pleasantly surprised. But yeah,
I think you never know if we can get an advantage in the first leg. There's been games at the Etihad where we haven't been hammered in recent years, and if we've got a lead to defend, you never know. But I think we're all agreed we're probably not getting past them, but there's ways.
Maybe rediscover some of that dirty football magic. Because I would go back to the Chelsea game just very, very briefly, right? One of the things that actually really disappointed me was when Chelsea were basically doing that thing in the first half, right, where they were basically rolling around on the floor, pretending that they'd been murdered when they just had the ball taken off them. We were too nice about it. Like there was that one period when Cole Palmer went down as if he'd been shot, and we were like passing it around the back, thinking, should we knock the ball out? It's like, no, this is your ideal opportunity to get into them, get at them, and get that winning goal. And they didn't do it. That we've lost some of that nastiness, and we need to get that back. And I think that's how we win.
Thank you, Danny Murphy. Right, that was. I know what you mean. We've got to sort of rediscover what made us who we were when we were winning games a couple of years ago. And you never know, maybe with this small break, with a chance to prepare to rebuild the team, get Wissa in there. Well, he needs to get them firing, doesn't he? Because I think if we go on for the rest of the season and every few games you churn out a performance like Sunderland, like West Ham, like Brentford, I'd probably agree that something's wrong. His ability to run that side has run out. And once it's run its course, which has given him a chance at all 4 competitions on the table, if we end the season and we're not in Europe and we haven't won any of those cups, that's a failure. I think that's fair to say. Not in Europe these days. We'll be 8th or something. And then we've got to have a little bit of a conversation about if we did qualify, like if we sneaked into, say, the Conference League, is that enough given the limitations on the club? It's all a bit of it's a multifaceted conversation. And what I would do actually over the coming weeks, when you've got a cup game and a league game, I would prioritise the cup game. I'd rest people for the Premier League and get through in the FA Cup or through the kitchen sink at Man City in the League Cup. I think we've only got Wolverhampton the weekend before we play them. And that's going to come back and bite me when we become the first team this season. But if that got you a League Cup final, I'd buy that. I'd have that.
Yeah.
And I'd defy anyone not to. League Cup final was one of the best days of my life. And that is equally tragic and adorable at the same time.
I would do it with certain games. I wouldn't do it repeatedly because you don't want the league. You don't want the league season to descend into basically what was Tottenham and Man United at the end of last season.
Yeah,
which, by the way, was both stupid and pathetic and hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean, they were basically chucking the league. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying prioritise the cups and you still give it your all in the league games. It felt like they'd switched off because Tottenham in particular had a lot of injuries. But obviously, like, you know, if you got shit Chester United in the 4th round of the FA Cup, you can take your foot off the gas a little bit and play a lesser team against them and focus on whoever in the Premier League. But I'm just saying, by and large, you maybe make this a cup year. You know what I mean? And if the League Cup does come up short against Man City, the FA Cup might fall our way. We might even get lucky in the Champions League. Imagine if our season just goes like that and clicks into gear just at a time when Real Madrid are having a bit of trouble. We'll be laughing tea cakes.
Yeah. The Christmas spirit. The Christmas spirit's getting to you, I think. Yeah,
the Christmas spirits are getting to. Yeah,
it is. It is round about this time I start replacing the milk in my coffee with Baileys, and I would advise. First of all, I'd advise everybody to do that, and second of all, if anybody from Baileys is listening, get in touch. I've also bought a couple of bottles of Kahlua so I can make my own baby Guinnesses.
Oh,
but
what a time to be alive!
Well, we're on. Do Ringtons do tea cakes? Yes, I believe they do. For any Americans listening, tea cakes is a sort of English recipe of a shortcake base with marshmallow, a little bit of jam, and chocolate on top.
You get everything on this show. Like you get everything, like food tips, like sponsorship deals. It's great. Yeah, I think it's what a treat for the audience.
We are the Baileys, the Bailey Boot Boys.
It's good. Yeah,
I'm not taking credit for someone's comment. Okay, so there's normally another game to look forward to in the week ahead. I was just about to think what's next, but and then I was going to say we'll be on before the Burnley game, but I mean we've got Christmas coming up. I don't know what day Sunday is next week, which sounds ridiculous, but somebody, I'm sure out there will know what I mean. I don't know what day Christmas is in relation to the bank holidays and stuff, but we'll get together at some point, talk about a glorious win at Old Trafford and maybe past visits there. And we can talk about comparisons of Boxing Days gone by. Oh, hang on, some people have already done that. Quickly, just keeping up with the theme, Kenny says, don't you grill tea cakes? Good question.
Why is this turned into an Alan Partridge show? For goodness sake.
Hot topic.
Hot topic.
There's two kinds of tea cakes that you can get. There is the chocolate tea cake, the kind that Ringtons do, which is a small chocolatey mound, as I said, with marshmallow jam and chocolate. And you can also get a breaded tea cake, which is like a bun with little bits of fruit in it, sort of usually raisins, sultanas.
I think we should wrap up, mate. I think we should wrap up.
I'm answering the people's question.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. And you grill them, put a bit of butter on, and they are delicious. If there's anyone from the tea cake advertise board listening, get in touch. And just
Warburton's 2 tea cakes.
One last little whinge. Yeah, they've got like Robert De Niro and Samuel L. Jackson. Or we are probably not quite as box office as them.
Not yet.
This has annoyed me. Friday's Boxing Day, Man U v Newcastle, because I was tempted to nip to Old Trafford, I have to say. I've been trying to take my son to a couple of away games, and I had that one circled. But Boxing Day at 8 o'clock, no public transport in the UK, and it just stinks. We are the only game that's being played on Boxing Day. It probably does spread our games out a little bit better than playing kind of Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, but it's actually the longest trip that day. And obviously somebody at Sky Sports just looked and said, well, they are both in the north, so that must be doable. And it kind of the timing of it, because I do family things on Boxing Day, and the fact that you'd have to commit to driving over the Pennines, regardless of the conditions, because it snows at Christmas, doesn't it? Then I just had to give it a miss. And I'll just sit and drink Bailey's coffee and eat chocolate tea cakes instead. Turkey sandwiches. So, yeah, we're not happy about that. So, right, where are we now then? 90s Mags is up in 10 minutes, so stay tuned on NUFC Talk TV or radio. Like and subscribe, hit the buttons. They will probably have a different view on Eddie Howe, but hey, that's what life's about, different views and opinions, isn't it? And not everybody can be as right as us. So, Kenny saying London Tube and buses run Boxing Day, but I don't think, Kenny, that the London Underground will get you to Manchester. So, with that, Hutch, any jolly Christmas message that you'd like to give to the people out there, the watching audience?
Just check in on your friends and have a great Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, did you have to be nice? I was probably going to say something stupid.
What?
Oh, he set the tone now, yeah.
Christmas is a time where some people feel lonely, like you. But so just check in with your friends. This is me checking in with you. Yeah. Have a good Christmas, everyone.
That's lovely, Hutch. Well done. And well said.
I'd just like to point out, because I'm feeling I'm getting a pity party here. I live with my wife and 3 kids. 15 people coming for Christmas dinner. People checking in is just an overload of people for me. The best gift I could get for Christmas is about 2 hours on my own with a podcast and a plate of mince pies. I want a big box of Lindt chocolates. If anyone from Lindt chocolate, anyway, enough of that. Let's just say, from the Newcastle comparison and all at NUFC Talk TV, have a lovely Christmas. Yeah. We'll be back on whatever day it is next week, when the day is that we all get together to try and work out what day it is and do a YouTube video / podcast. In the meantime, we do recommend Quantum Leap and tea cakes.
Guinness, don't forget Guinness.
Yeah. Have a lovely Christmas and stay tuned for 90s Mags.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers, guys. Bye.